talking about that the federal government becoming Cash App. I don't know, I'm a little out of sync with this
Say
whole
it now.
say it now. And I'm just like, but I kind of knew that just because what Cash App does is illegal. Bank to bank transfers are illegal. That's money laundering 101.
Technically speaking, I ain't talking vegan when I said that I've been eating, making money on the side, but I use it for the man.
Change it up a little bit with having a guest speaker come and talk to us about cybersecurity bootcamp. I know a lot of you guys are interested in learning cybersecurity. You're interested in going down probably a bootcamp way, or probably going back to school, or you're just looking for a full resource. And what I decided here is to bring our guest speaker on because she has recently graduated from a cybersecurity bootcamp, and she can kind of give you guys her experience and how she went through it and what she learned. And you guys can get an insight to see if this is something that you still want to do, something that you probably want to, go more into something else, or whatever the case may be. Again, it just gives you information here. So what I'm going to do, let me just make sure I have this saved. What I'm going to do is definitely pass it over to our guest speaker, Christine. You can go ahead and introduce yourself, and then we'll get into a few questions.
Okay, so my name is Christine. I'm a wife and I'm a mother. I live in Houston, Texas. I came here to Houston from Tanzania years ago, and I got to Houston. I attended Texas Southern University. I majored in electronics engineering. So, and since then I've been doing design engineer until a few months ago. When I decided to get into the cybersecurity world.
Right. Pretty cool. Well, first, thank you for even, showing up and, giving us your insight, because, we are excited about cybersecurity. Now, can you give us a little insight of why you decided to join cybersecurity with your background?
So I've been working with engineering, because that's all I knew from young age, because that's all it was around me. And I really didn't know nothing about IT. But when I was in school, we took some classes, different classes, C++, working in computers and stuff like that. So I've been wanting to be in IT for a long time, but I just never knew what did I really want it, I thought about going into the programming, and I was like, oh, C++ was pretty hard, So I'm like, I don't know if I want to go that way. And so in recent years, I started hearing about cybersecurity, and I really got interested on that. So I'm like, you know what? Let me try to get into that. So that's when I start to do the research on it, and then I try to join cybersecurity.
Right. No, very cool. Yeah, coding, programming is definitely, crazy, especially the C++. Like, that's one of the OGs of programming languages. So it's definitely a tough cookie. It's definitely tough. So when you joined the, cybersecurity bootcamp, was it something that you just found online? Did someone, refer you to it? How did you get to that bootcamp?
So first, when I learned about cybersecurity, I started learning by myself. So I started to register and join some classes online. And because I just never heard about cybersecurity, everything was really new. So I was like, you know what? I just cannot do it by myself. I really need to be in a class with the instructor, with, other students, so I can have the interaction. So by researching, one of my friend, somebody I knew, not really like a close friend. So she told me about bootcamp. I didn't know nothing about bootcamp. And she said, yeah, it's just like a classroom. You get in class, you interact with the instructor, and they show you what to do, and you do projects and stuff like that. So I'm like, yeah, I can do that. I cannot do it by myself. I tried that and didn't work. So that's when I joined the boot camp, and the rest is history.
Oh, okay. What now? Which boot camp? Where is this boot camp? Who is this? Like a university? or was this like, someone
I
online? Mhm.
actually it's with Rice University. So
Oh,
I joined. It's Rice
yes,
University in Boston. Yeah. So that's I
yes.
joined their boot camp.
Rice
Yeah.
University. Definitely, definitely.
Mhm.
So when you joined, since you already had a little bit of knowledge, was it still like a big shock, a lot of knowledge that you had to retain, or was it easy since you kind of, well, not easy, but was it a little easier because you did have that knowledge a little bit joining?
Uh, so when I was taking the classes, it was most of them was very informational. And because I got kind of bored, so I didn't really finish. So I only learned like the introduction of it. So when I get in the boot camp, at first it was kind of really boring. I'm like, because it's just informational, tell you about all this stuff, the rules, the GRC and all that stuff. And I'm like, this is
Mm.
kind of boring. So it took a while, and then he picked up. Then when he started getting interested, I'm like, so now this sounds like more cybersecurity. Those all
Right.
that information at the beginning, it was just informational. So it was easier, but the most of the stuff was really new, pretty like never seen Linux and all that stuff I'd never seen before. So the only thing I
Okay.
knew was Python, and we barely did that.
Oh, okay, okay. So what was really interesting? What did you find like the most interesting part?
I just really pen testing was really interesting. Going
Mm.
through, people's computers and trying to find the weakness and which doors can we get in, and what sensitive information can we grab from it. So it's the mystery of it. It was very interesting. So
Right, right, right. Now, before we even get into it, I know some people probably know, but some may not. So can you kind of explain what cybersecurity is for the folks that, do not know what cybersecurity is?
okay, so cybersecurity is like it's very wide. There's so much stuff you can do with cybersecurity, but there's maybe the simplest thing I can say. I can give you an example, like email security. Like you are in the job, somebody send you an email, pretend to be Christine. I have an email from Christine, send you the link. You click on it. It has some virus, malware. So what the cybersecurity is, we try to protect from that email from that, let's say, that attachment from making a big impact in the company or in your computer. So you're trying to shield that. So it's so first of all, you give like you teach there's some department that they teach you, the employees, how to notice stuff like that. So you may have a job, just your job is to make sure the employee know the rules, what to click, not to click, to see the red flags. And there's some people like that say, like pen testing, trying to find the easiest way to get into the system. So you can have somebody who, it can be me, Christine, sending you an email. It really is Christine, but I'm trying to test to see if you can really click it, by somebody in the company testing you, see if you can go for it. So it's a very wild, it's a very wide industry. So there's so much into it.
Right,
So that's
right,
just
right.
like a piece of it, but there's so much going on behind the scenes.
Okay, okay. So when someone says they want to be in cybersecurity, they really would have to find a niche in that cybersecurity industry, like what do you want to do in cybersecurity? Not, just be in cybersecurity. So that definitely makes sense. That's kind of like in the networking realm, says, oh, I want to be a network engineer. But what type of network engineer? We have wireless, we have data, we have voice, we have security. So, it's you find your niche, to find your niche in your niche. It is pretty wide as you go into these industries. So that's pretty cool on that end. So yes. So as far as like just going back into like what you've learned in the boot camp, would you say that it gave you all the, needed information, like, as far as like hands-on and the information and, package it all up for you to go out into the world and job hunt?
What I can say, it really, because there's so many information that we did in 6 months, a couple of days, not every day. I feel like it's like a 4-year information. You did it in 6 months. So every little thing, it was kind of like introduction. So we learned about Linux. We would do the introduction to Linux. We learned about networking fundamentals. We learned like introduction to it, cryptography, health stack, web development. They have, we have projects and homeworks and stuff like that, but they really didn't go into deep. So you really have to work yourself. So it's like they teach you, let's say, maybe 30%, 70%, you're gonna have to do it yourself. So because just six months was not enough to learn everything. If they will concentrate on, let's say, penetration testing by itself, then it will be enough. Or they will concentrate on network fundamentals just for 6 months. You come out there like I am, expert into that. But really, like every week, it was, we're gonna learn about this thing. We're gonna learn about this thing. We're gonna learn about this thing. So once you come out of that, that's when the labs and, and studying by yourself and going to YouTubes and stuff like that, you have to add to it. So, they gave us foundation, but you have to work yourself after that.
Yeah. I definitely can imagine that. Again, this is the same, kind of, similarities as network engineering. Because I teach my students network engineering as far as CCNA route, and it's really just scratching the surface. You really have to, spend some time in it. So, it's what I teach is definitely 30%, 70% you definitely have to do on your own. But I'm here to help, because I'm in the industry. So I'm here to help you with that 70%, to kind of speed you along. Did they have someone in that boot camp like that, to where they give you like external resources to aid with that 70%? Or is that something that you have to like find on your own?
You really have to find on your own. We had tutors, but that was during when we went at the boot camp. And you only have certain hours with them. So you don't have like exclusive time with the tutors. So pretty much 50% of it, I think you're on your own. So yeah, you still had, when you come to class, they have maybe an extra hour after the class, 1 hour before the class, where you can ask any questions, any issue that you have, they accommodate with that, but it's still, you still have to do it yourself.
Right. Oh, okay. So this was like everyday class, Monday through Friday?
No, we was 3 days class. I think it was Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. Only 3 days.
Oh, okay. That's not bad. That's not bad at all. And was it was live? You had a live instructor on, like,
Yes. Yeah, it was
Nice.
live. You ask questions like, just like here, like this.
Good. No, that's good, and I feel like that's exactly like when you think of boot camp, that's exactly what it is, like a whole bunch of information just shoved in your head, and then you just have to go out and do something with that. So with what all that you've gained from the boot camp, are you going to, further into a specific realm in cybersecurity, or are you still trying to figure out more resources for yourself?
Right now, I think I'm still trying to figure out the more resources, because after the boot camp, going and seeing all these different job titles, it just keep on get you confused, But when they talk about in the boot camp, and then when you go to the real world, it's a whole different ball, So I'm still trying to figure out. And the only thing that I think that if you get in, it's easy to figure out. When you're out looking, it's really it's hard to know. Once you're in and you start working, I think that's the best way to do it. So once you put your foot in the door, then it's easy to see which way which the best way to go.
Exactly. I think that, anybody who wants to, embark on that cybersecurity journey, and, like you said, really don't know how, as far as the niche, like penetration testing or networking, I think the best way is to go into networking, just because for me, I feel like it's an easier entry point into security, because with networks, we need someone that specializes in security, maybe not so far as like, top security guy of, our security department, but at least somebody in that understands how computers, network and talk with each other, how to secure that on like a basic level. And, you get deeper into that, which, like you said, with penetration testing and all other such. And then it's like, okay, now you're going into a different department, which will be the security department. And then you can, grow from there. I myself, just as a regular network engineer or voice network engineer, I have to learn a little bit of security myself. I have to understand like DHCP spoofing, setting up, port security, or, setting up, I think it's like dynamic ARP inspection and stuff. Most of it I deal with, I help, or I would say I collaborate with the data guys that actually do that, or security guys that actually do that. But I still have to know that. And, not securities, but certificates play a big role in just, verifying our servers. That I feel that everyone should understand security on a networking level before you, embark on the journey. Because I just feel like it just helps, it helps with your knowledge, and it helps you get into the field, right?
Yeah, and you're right about that, because when we're in the boot camp, they teach us about networking, but they really didn't go into deep. But once we get to that subject, I was really hoping they would go into really deep, because like you say, it's like, especially for people who are new to IT, it's like that's where you really understand how the computer works, how the data travel, all that stuff. So I think that should be the first thing you really have to know in order to understand all these other stuff. So what you're saying is pretty true.
Yes. See, you guys, like I'm trying to tell you, the boot camp. So it's really like, a general sense for you to at least get your foot in the door. And then, you're going to figure out what you like as you start to gain experience, because there's so many job titles out here. There's so many, things to do that you'll probably not even understand another technology, even though you're probably deep into this technology. Again, it's all about specializing in something. And as we come into this tech world, sometimes we don't know what to specialize in. Technically speaking, we're all about, increasing your income through tech. So we're about money first. And a lot of times it's easier said than done to, get a tech job, get some money and pay your debt off and go travel. But, the hardest part, I think, is finding a niche. The hardest part is finding like, what's that specialty? Because everything is interesting. Everything gives you money. Everything is cool. Everything is like, oh, you start learning new things. You start going down so many rabbit holes. Trust me, I've been through many. But I wouldn't say I was forced into network engineering, but it was something that I just chose just because it was the first thing that popped out. And, I just feel like, that was a good, solid foundation to now build upon whatever else I want to do. So with my boot camp, I want to make sure that you guys are getting the solid foundation to do whatever you want. I feel like you cannot really understand how to develop a mobile app if you are not understanding how the computer talks to another computer. How do you understand how to develop the app if you don't understand data travel? Or just like you said, how would you secure anything if you don't know how the computer talks, right? Or you don't know how to make the computer talk itself by putting in some code, Python, like you said. So it's like, I'm really giving you guys the foundation. And if you really go through those 2 weeks seriously, we're in our 3rd week, and it's all about actually putting that knowledge into play with your hands. And I have so many projects that you guys can do. Security, kind of, but I want you guys to at least see from someone who went through a boot camp that, hey, you definitely can get this knowledge, but definitely start off at the foundations so you can pick a niche. That's just like the number one thing I've been saying is pick a niche. It's very important. So yeah, with your in the boot camp, tell us a little bit, what was the pros and what was the cons in the full experience, what they're helping you with your learning. What would you say to us about pros and cons of Rice University?
I hope I won't get trouble for this, but for the pros, just like I say, it's really like you have an instructor in front of you. You can ask questions, and you can interact with the other students. We have the project with like a real life project that you can work, you can practice on on different stuff. So that was really that was the pro. And they had people who work with you with the resume and interview questions and and things like that. Even after the boot camp, we had a couple weeks that you can still work with a person who like a tutor or somebody assigned to you. And they give you the voucher for if you want to take the C++, no C++, for security class or any certificate. So they give you a voucher for that. And the cons, I would say that, just like I said before, it's just too much stuff with a very few times. And for people like us who have to go to work, you have to come home, you have, kids and stuff like that. So it's not easy to really work on all that stuff and really succeed, And the other thing is, I like the other boot camp that once you graduate, they can help you look for work, So over there, they send you to the job fairs and stuff like that, but really not like that. It's not like they are helping you like hand in hand, let's do this, let's do that. So that's I think that's the cons. And it really depends what you're gonna end with, because some of the instructors, they are not teachers. So some of them is really hard to understand what they're talking about. Some of them, they have attitudes, they don't want to ask some questions, So that can be really discouraging. When we started, it was like maybe 30 of us, more than 30, I think. And we end up like less than 20 people. So there's so many people drop along the way. Not everybody made it all the way to the end. So it wasn't an easy camp. It was really hard. You really have to be hardcore. So yeah.
Okay. Thank you. That definitely makes sense though. I know with the boot camp over here, people definitely drop. as it gets, more and more deeper into the information. And that's because it's so much. And sometimes you just have to take it for what it is, and just keep going. And, it will come full circle at the end. It's just going through those rough patches of like, what's happening? What are they talking about? So that makes sense. That makes sense. So, now that you're done with the boot camp, what's your future plans? What's your future goals with this knowledge that you have now?
So when I finished the boot camp, I was looking for work, and it was really, I think I finished at the really wrong time when people are getting laid off left and right. And there's so many people out there who have more knowledgeable than I was. I mean, that's what I think. So it was really, the competition was so big, and I have to work, So I was like, you know what, let me just concentrate because I got bills to pay. So I took a break, and I just continue working on my engineering job. But my heart is still in cybersecurity. So in recently months, I went back to being serious again about cybersecurity. So I'm connecting with all these people, like in different groups of people who have, have been there, done that, trying to work on my resume, see if it can give me my foot on the door, and maybe trying to look for mentors and things like that. So I can continue with my dream, because that's my dream.
Yeah, definitely. Keep pushing for sure. It's definitely not going to be an easy path, but it is a rewarding path. So, you took the first step. You took a step that a lot of folks are still trying to figure out if they should take or not. So you're already ahead of the game. Is now just trying to market yourself and getting out there. So, since you already finished, you already completed, it should be, pretty smoothly to find something in the next couple of months, at least entry level. And like you said, you definitely want to start in some type of niche. So, whether you go into like entry level pen testing or entry level, firewall or security, you'll at least get that footing to be like, okay, let me put what I've learned in play. And it's just, really going up from that. I heard the salaries can go far up between like 270,000, so definitely something to keep pushing forward. So, just in closing, can you give, our members any advice, who's currently on their, cybersecurity path, if they want to join a boot camp or not? Can you shed some light on them, give them some advice?
Yeah. So the first thing I would say, do your research. Do a whole lot of research. And the best way is to speak with somebody who's already in the industry, who's already working as a cybersecurity. It doesn't matter which part of cybersecurity. So, because they can give you a real picture. So do a whole lot of the research and find a mentor. And even the boot camp, you gotta be very careful, because the boot camp that I went, I pay a whole lot of money. And I really believe that there's so much other ones that you can go without paying all that much money, And the only way you should pay a whole lot of money if they guarantee that they're going to give you a job. You're going to get a job after you graduate, because there's some of them are like that. So if they guarantee you that once you graduate, you're going to get some kind of job, then you can pay some money, but don't pay thousands and thousands of dollars for something, and then some people quit, so then you just remain with the debt, and you don't have the certificate. So just do your research on the boot camps. Make sure it's a reputable boot camp, because there's some scammers out there too. So and just you have to be hands-on. You gotta do the project. You gotta work. If you just getting the information and put it in in your head is not enough, because we don't have experience. So your project will be your experience, because that's what you're gonna put on your resume. Because I cannot put like I did design engineering and I did cybersecurity. So think they really, you can find the transferable skills, but if you have a project that you put on there, that can take space of experience. And there's some people get a job with just the project, and they're not even entry-level job. So once you really can show that you can do what you do, you can talk, you can explain what you did, you can get a good job. So just work hard and don't give up. I mean, don't give up. There are jobs out there. With all this internet, everybody is on the internet. We really do need cybersecurity. Like every day I read the news and I listen to cybersecurity news. There's a something happens somewhere, like every single day. So there's gonna be jobs in cybersecurity no matter what. So don't give up.
Right. Wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing that and sharing your experience and insights with us. Again, I have a lot of folks that want to go into cybersecurity. They're looking for cybersecurity boot camp specifically, or, what should they do? And this was great putting your experience and thoughts out there. And, just the, closing thoughts and just the, piggyback off what you said, that's why I try to give my boot camp to you guys at an affordable price, to where, you can still, value my time, but also not break the bank. And with that, it is a lot of information, but if you stick to it, you can do a project. You can, work into what we are in right now, our project week, and actually put something on your resume to say that I actually did this. And you can really legitimately get a job, just based off that project experience. I'm gonna tell you right now, that's exactly how I got all of my jobs, exactly how I helped some of my past students get jobs. And as we progress in this boot camp, that's exactly how I'm gonna get you guys these jobs, okay? You have to really legitimately do these projects. I gave you hundreds probably, I'll probably give you 100 projects to do. You pick out your niche, do the project, let's put it on your resume, and let's get these jobs, okay? We are all about increasing our income. If you would like a career in tech, if this is something that you want to do, like Christine, this is your dream, then yes, let's go for it. But if you are here to really just use tech as a bridge to from this life to your dream life, because you need the capital, then this is what we're here to do as well. Okay, you guys. So thank you again to our guest, Christine. You were wonderful. Thank you. Hope to do this again as you go more in your journey, and we can do a checkup and see what's happening. But this is the end of the interview. I will open the floor if anybody that is here in the live would like to say anything, ask any questions you're open to. But if not, thank you so much for coming and joining us.
Thank you so much. So I got a question. So with all the digital currency stuff coming, is there did they carve out for that type of security to deal with money versus just dealing with the emails and all this stuff? Because I know that over the last 5 years, everything's been breached when it comes to money, Zelle, everything. Like I've been a victim of so many different scams. And I have a background in anti-money laundering. I do insurance, but it's like I can't tell anymore what's real and what's fake when it comes to money stuff. So is they like carving something out to have cybersecurity that deals with our money? Is they doing that?
No, I don't think so. I think cybersecurity, just all cybersecurity can deal with all that. Just like we can deal with all the money and the internet, the emails and all the other stuff. It's the same people. Because most of the time, like the people who can hack are the people who can protect you from being hacked, So it's really the same Same people. That's why when you get into cybersecurity, you really have to have the mindset of a hacker. You know, I have to think, what is it thinking? What is it gonna do over here? You know, because so that you'll be like one step ahead of them. So it's the same people.
Okay. Good to know. Good to know.
I'll chime in on that for you, Tamika. Is it Tamika?
Yeah, yeah.
So I know that there is a portion of cybersecurity that has piqued my interest. I'm actually studying cybersecurity in college right now, and it is PCI DSS, so Payment Card Information Data Security, and then Sarbanes-Oxley, SOX, SOX for short. And one of them, PCI DSS, kind of focuses on smaller entities and their financial credit card swipes, whereas SOX deals with the big accounting financial side of cybersecurity and keeping all of the policies, compliance, and risk management covered on that end. So that's for like your Microsoft corporations and your Apples, they deal with SOX, whereas PCI DSS might be Hertz rental card that swipes your card when you go rental card. Does that make sense?
Yeah, for sure. Because I'm noticing a trend. A lot of companies have gotten their account information stolen. So people are sending fake checks and trying to see how many they could get through, which is affecting people because they don't know that the stuff isn't real, or they take a job and they're supposed to get paid for something. So that's good to know that they're dealing with the credit card side and the digital side more effectively, because that's important. Like, I've been a victim so many times. Like, I'm like, when is they gonna just figure this part out? Protect our money. We will pay you to protect our money more than the emails, more than anything on. I would pay a fee for protection for my money. And when you get the like the identity theft protect, none of that stuff pans out. None of it ever works. It doesn't do anything for you. You just pay a monthly fee for somebody to tell you something you already know happening. So that's good to know that these companies are stepping the game up and trying to make sure we don't feel scammed all the time.
That's the part that I've been talking to Jessica about. That's the governance, risk, and compliance, or GRC for short. Now you have to have governance, risk, and compliance for all the controls, whether it be networking or, the cryptography or whatever, as far as cybersecurity is concerned. But the PCI DSS and SOX, they fall under the governance, risk, and compliance, or the GRC for cybersecurity. So finance and the money part is really what drives me. So if you have questions about that, I can tell you about some of the things I've learned so far, because they don't really teach a lot about it in school. They kind of brush over it. So when I got my Security Plus, I had to kind of learn a little bit about it and barely got asked 2 or 3 questions on the exam when I took it. But it's huge. Like you said, we all make money. We all need money. You got to have money to thrive. So why is that not a bigger factor when it comes to cybersecurity? People think hacking, they think protecting our network. Yeah, protect my money too. Protect our transactions. That's pretty huge. So PCI DSS training is kind of difficult to get because you have to get it through a corporation. They don't really give it out to the individual. But SOX, they're very open, which I thought was so backwards because SOX deals with the huge Microsoft and Apple corporations. But they're like, we don't want to keep our information to ourselves. And they're like Jessica, they want to make it cost effective. It's very cost effective, and you can go and learn everything from level 1 up to level 8, and it's like $150 or $200 for each level. Whereas PCI DSS is like a good $4,000 or $5,000 down just to learn what PCI DSS even is.
Oh, wow. So corporate America has its hands wrapped around the first one. And then the big company is like, let's see who all we can grab. Let's see who all going down that rabbit hole. So I get it. Yeah, but that's good to know. That's gives me some assurance. I know because what Cash App does is illegal. Bank-to-bank transfers are illegal. That's money laundering 101. But they told us about 10 years ago that it was going to happen. And it was all going to be illegal as we enter the digital era, because the laws have to catch up with technology. So they were just telling us, like, pay attention to people who use those services only in the beginning. And now they're like, you got to Cash App, now everybody takes them, So it's like, even though things were created for one reason, the government has learned how to adapt that creation and create their own thing similar and change the rules for their own benefit, So I've watched that evolution with the whole digital currency with banks and stuff. So,
and to your point, you are a very intelligent woman, because what you just said is the reason why PCI DSS was even created, which I think it got its first run, and y'all can Google, I could be wrong, but I think it was 2004, to manage and govern MasterCard, Visa, Discover, American Express. How long have those 4 brands been around? Were they here before 2004?
yes, and
They
they've
were
been getting money.
So what you just said was the laws had to catch up to technology. It took all that time. We've had Visa, MasterCard, American Express, Discover for probably 20, 30 years before the law even came together and said, these bodies need one policy to go through. Visa can't have its own, MasterCard can't have, they all had their own. And then all of a sudden somebody came in and said, this makes no sense. They need one governing body. So that's where the PCI DSS comes from, just like what you said. So the tech had to catch up to what we had already been using for a long time, just like Cash App.
And lots of lawsuits. I was party to a bunch of them. Yeah, a bunch of them where they were, overcharging us the fees. Like you said, like everybody was just doing their own thing. Visa charges one price, MasterCard charged us another for swiping. It was like no simplicity. We didn't know what was happening. And that's how Payless Shoes went out of business, Radio Shack, a lot of companies, because they were saying this is 99 cents. And when you swipe the card, you got to pay $3, 3.2% here, 2.1. American Express had a number, and they all kind of went out of business and sued them about that. And so they end up really updating this law and getting stuff together to stay in business. And that's probably why they came out with that platform, because they were getting sued. In the beginning of the digital era of the 2000s, it was a big boom. It really was for all of us. And it was so much going on. No one was catching on to it, but companies were going down. Businesses was going out. Big companies that was around for a long time was losing its base because it couldn't keep up with, every time I take a credit card, I got to lose my 99 cents. I don't get 99 cents. I get 87 cents. Like, this is not going to work. This is not good math. And they couldn't raise prices to deal with credit card fees. That's why a lot of corner stores charge us 50 cents to use the card, because they were like, I'm not taking on that cost. And I think that should be illegal. I mean, it's your business. I shouldn't be paying a fee that belongs to your operation.
Raise your prices then.
Yeah, but we pay it because we don't even have choice. So I'm really looking forward to these platforms coming in and really governing how this stuff is all looking for all of us, because it's dangerous out there. So. But that was good. I'm learning.
Yeah. That's it. I learned something new too, because and that's you can tell that cybersecurity has so many branches, like so much. It's like it's not like just one thing. It has so many different. Because I have one of my friends that she was doing just email security. That's it. That's all her job was, just email security. And I didn't know nothing about that when I was going in, in boot camp. So it's like there's so much other stuff that involved with cybersecurity. That's why I'm saying that they'll always have jobs, always. As long as we're doing the internet thing, there's gonna be a cybersecurity job somewhere.
Yeah, as long as you know how to protect, you have to protect, that's one thing. We build all this infrastructures, and at the end of the day, we want to make sure that no one could just come in and utilize that in a bad way. So if anybody can help protect and solve those problems, then that's money for you. So that's what I tell you guys all the time. Like, choose your niche. Choose your niche. Like, you need to choose something, because tech is so wide, just like you said. Like, it's so much you can do. And once you choose that, let's say you do decide to go into security, what type of security do you want to be in? We got credit cards now. We have something that you don't even have to deal with emails. You don't have to deal with networking. You could deal with literally the money aspect, the credit card swiping. So that's another thing you guys can definitely look into. But it's so much, and I really want you guys to not get overwhelmed with all this information. I want you to really take it in for what it is, and really figure out what are you interested in? What's something that calls to you? because again, you don't have to do it for the money. The money is everywhere. The money is in network. The same, 270,000 that the cybersecurity guys get paid, you can get paid that in network engineering, or you can get paid that in software development as well. You can get paid in that in project management, right? Like technical writing. Like there's a lot of people that make $150,000 as a technical writer.